Welcome to the Real-Time Strategic Change Practicum. Real work with real results in real time. I'm Jake Jacobs and I welcome you to the overview video. For each session, we'll be showing one of the videos as a way to move faster down the road to your preferred future. What is real-time strategic change? There's actually a pyramid of meaning behind it. Tools and techniques, phases, or areas of work, we call them, the fundamental building block of the principles, and then below the water to see it as an approach to change, a way of thinking and acting, and finally a way of being, a set of lenses to look through all of the work that you're doing, organizationally, team, or at the individual level. The overview agenda for this video is we're going to cover the practicum's purpose and outcomes, graphic of the experience you can expect to have, and the critical success factors, what I'm going to be offering to you and what I'll need from you in order for us to be successful. Then we'll look at the session 1 purpose and outcomes, get clear on the work, and then look at the example of the cases that we'll be using throughout the practicum. Purpose of the practicum overall is so that you're able to create fast and lasting change in all of your work, whether you are a leader or a consultant, internal or external. It's about fast and lasting change. The practicum outcomes, first, know. So one is you'll understand RTSC, be able to explain it, know where it came from, and know when to use it. You'll also be clear about how RTSC complements and supports your existing client work. So RTSC plugs and plays well with others. You'll know how to do that at the end of our practicum. B, you have a confidence in understanding the past, present, and future of RTSC. You'll also be a valued member of our learning community, which is going to include an online conversation cafe as well as the webinars themselves. And finally, do. What will you be able to do? 1, accelerate and sustain results related to the project that you bring to the practicum. You'll be able to explain this and teach others about the approach and the principles and how RTSC works. And then finally, be able to embed them in whatever work that you're doing with clients and with your own organization. The practicum experience. There are 6 sessions overall, beginning with our hitting the ground running, the 3 areas of work in sessions 2, 3, and 4, an assessment on the principles, the newest aspect of RTSC, and finally, that embedding it into daily work that I mentioned previously. Each of the webinars will be focused around a case which has 3 dimensions, the organization, the team, and the individual. And we'll be looking through the principles as a lens on that case. Before each session, there will be a video, much like this one, as well as a session outline. And in the webinar, we will be able to take questions from the pre-session video and outline first to see if we're all on board. And then also, I'll walk through the case at each stage of its development, and we'll take question and answer on that. And then post-session, there'll be application, you being able to take this back into your organization and the work with your clients. Throughout this, there will be a series of readings and that conversation cafe that I mentioned earlier. And shared responsibilities is really the critical success factor here. I'm going to be bringing content from the areas of work to the principles to the cases, and I will be readily available as a resource in the conversation cafe. I also invite you to give us ideas about how to further improve the practicum, and we'll take those and integrate them into the design. What I'm asking for from you, take the work seriously, put it into your calendar, apply what you're learning, and push me for greater clarity where you need it. Getting clear on the work. Each of the sessions will outline, why is this work important to do? What is it? How do we know that we've done it well? What are your success criteria? And then specifically, how do you do the work? So this will all be available to you each session in the pre-video. The case that we're going to be looking at throughout this is a large apparel retailer, more than doubling the number of stores in their rapid growth strategy. There were conflicts between merchandising and sales. We'll be looking at those in more depth and the way that they developed and emerged a more successful and healthy relationship. And then throughout Europe, looking for a jump start on the competition as they grew. What were the results? In short, additional funding from corporate was given to support their work. Roles defined, delivered between these conflicting areas of merchandising and sales, and then new store openings in the UK, Germany, and new country opening in Poland. Those were all bottom line results that came from the real-time strategic change effort. That and more we'll be covering in the overview and in the practicum. A pulse check here you can see in terms of how much clearer people felt, a good score. This is what typically gets called smile sheets. From an RTSC standpoint, it's one of the elements that we look at. Another is what actions are taken and what results are achieved. So this is just a snapshot of this case where we're looking at one of the decisions had to do with laptops, Blackberries, and you can see the level of detail that you get into with RTSC work is the level of detail required for follow-through commitment and implementation. So the screen size, where the second battery sits, these seem like details that you might not need to pay attention to coming out of some large group meeting. This is exactly the kind of details that we pay attention to in all real-time strategic change work. The dates for this start on the 4th of September, and it runs every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, a repeat session at 8 p.m. Eastern Time through October 9th. They'll all be recorded, each of these sessions, and available for viewing so that if you are, for some reason, unable to make a session, you won't miss it. And then logistics. So there's going to be a downloadable copy of Real-Time Strategic Change from Barrett Kohlers. You'll be supplied with a unique user ID to download this book. The Conversation Cafe will be hosted at a site called Basecamp, where you can have different time, different place conversations. Again, you'll have a unique username and password, and we'll set up the Practicum Conversation Cafe. The first topic already in there is the overview video question and answer. Dropbox for all documents will be available. And finally, we welcome you again to the RTSC Practicum and their 6 weekly sessions, a suggested price of $199, and you can sign up at www.realtimestrategicchange.com. This is Jake Jacobs, and I look forward to seeing you on the 4th of September.